Welcome back again. Today's video is about hitting hybrids. And let's talk first about what a hybrid is. So a hybrid is a combination between an iron and a fairway metal, and it looks like this. It's a smaller kind of fairway metal, and it should be hit just like a fairway metal. So let's talk about the right way to do it. And I think it's important to talk about how we would set up to strike an iron. So when we strike a iron, the ball is going to be slightly forward of the middle of our stance. I like it off where like the logo would be for you righties, or as far forward as my armpit if I'm going to hit it high. And then I'm going to have my shoulders pretty close to level. That's going to create a descending blow on the golf ball. It doesn't have to be super steep, but just a little bit, so that I'm getting, ball then turf. That's allowing me to de-loft the club, and that's going to make the ball, go out there and fly a long ways. So here's a strike of an iron, ball forward, feet about outside shoulder width apart. This is 6 iron, not tons of tilt this way, just pretty neutral. There's going to be just this shoulder's just slightly higher than this one. And you can see I've created a divot. The ball was there. Divots in front of the ball. That's gone a long ways. It's nicely struck 6 iron. With a hybrid, it's a little bit different. So when we're hitting a hybrid, this doesn't have as much loft. Now, some people have 5 and 6 hybrids, 4 hybrids. This is my 3 hybrid, so it's to replace a 3 iron. And the reason you'd hit it is because I can hit it higher in the air and not sacrifice distance. And so the slower somebody swings, the shorter that the ball goes. And so when we get into less loft, you run into this problem of launch, spin, and distance. So people stopped using 3 irons because they hit their 4 iron and 5 iron the same distance because they couldn't get their 3 iron in the air because they didn't swing with enough speed. So almost no one has a 3 iron anymore except, golf pros and PGA Tour players. And they've almost all disappeared from the LPGA Tour. You'll see LPGA players using up to 6 hybrid. Look at Lydia Ko. Google Lydia Ko, what's in the bag, and you'll see tons of hybrids and fairway metals. And she hits them very accurately. And here's how she does it. She has the ball forward in her stance. So if this was iron here off the logo, she's up in the armpit, maybe the front of the arm, depending on what she's doing, probably the armpit or somewhere in here. So the ball's a little more forward. But the big thing that they do at address is if this is neutral with, both lats, the shoulders are level, they tilt into the trail side so that they can encourage themselves to have this kind of sweepy swing. The last thing is, what hits the ground first is actually the back middle part of the hybrid. It's not the leading edge of the club. And so I see a lot of people setting up wrong to hybrids like this. You need to get the ball forward and have the shaft straight up and down so that you have a chance to strike the ground with the back of that hybrid. See how there's no divot? There's not going to be a divot when you hit a hybrid well. Because in slow motion what happens is this club comes down, the back of the hybrid hits the ground, runs into the golf ball, and then the club keeps going and the ball goes flying and you deliver all that speed to the golf ball. I see a lot of people striking down on their hybrids and they're not getting any distance. So let's start with the setup. I think that's a good place to begin. We're going to have the ball forward. Instead of being set up like this, we're going to have a little bit of tilt into our trail side. You can do this by kind of reaching down and touching your outside of your trail knee. And let's see what kind of strike we can put on this thing. Marvelous. And I've gotten that ball way up in the air so that it's going to go far, maybe 200 plus yards, but when it lands, it's going to stop. It's not going to keep going and going and going. Okay? Really good. Let's try it. Let's try another one and we'll talk through the process. So maybe you're only playing a couple times a month. Maybe you're only playing a couple times a year and you've got these hybrids. When you have a long shot into a par 5 or a long par 4 over 180 yards, pull one of these out. Go ahead and pick your target. Point the club face at the target. Get the shaft straightened up and down. Get the ball forward in your stance. Tilt into your trail side by touching your knee and let her rip. So that's a little bit about hybrids. We need a little bit of tilt. We need the ball forward. Strike it more like a fairway would. No divot. This is what hits the ground first, not the leading edge. Thanks, you.